All right, it's Friday fun day. It's 3 o'clock. That means it's time to make videos. Whew, long day today. So let's get right on it. This is Unit 6, Lesson 11, and this is slopes of perpendicular lines. We're taking a look at slopes of lines that meet at right angles, and you might know two of them as the x and the y-axis. They meet at right angles, but that's kind of obvious. What about the ones that go different directions? So if there's a line over here and it's perpendicular to another line, the big question is, what are those slopes? What are those m values? And then we're going to solve a few problems along the way with those. So let's get to the math. Just to start with, going to start with the vocabulary today. Opposite. Opposite means change in sign. So if the sign is plus, it changes to its opposite. So opposites are positive, negative. So positive, negative, opposite signs. That's what opposite means. All right, and the other word we're looking at down here on the bottom is reciprocal, and that's kind of what we say is a flip. Kind of like A over B. If I flip it, it becomes B over A. That's the idea. So they're opposite reciprocals, and that actually truly is what perpendicular lines are. They have opposite reciprocal slopes. There, I said it. That is pretty much, there's the lesson. We're done. Minute 31. Just kidding. But that's the idea. So we're starting at the end today, and we're kind of working our way back. So let's come back to the beginning. We start off with a transformation just to kind of show this whole concept. Oops. Something on my screen. Not that. Okay. So to show this concept demonstrated, we transform this kind of y-x figure into negative y and x. So we switch y and x, and we make y negative. So let's look at the coordinates here. It's best to look at the coordinates. For A, B, C, C, and D. Let's take a look at those coordinates. I'm just framing this up here so I can put my coordinates in. Okay, so A looks like it's 0, 0. B is 5, negative 2. And C is 6, 0. And D is 5, positive 2. So now if I do a little switcheroony here, we redo those, and we switch y and x, we make y negative, we should have some new coordinates over here, and I'm going to frame them real quick. Let me x, y switch. Well, 0, 0 switches, and if 0 becomes negative, that doesn't matter, because 0 can be neither positive or negative. So 0, 0 is good. Negative 2 and 5 switch. So you got negative 2 and 5 switching, but the y has to change signs, because we're talking about negative y. So it's not going to be positive 2, 5. And then 6 and 0 switch. Well, 0 and 6 switch like that. X and y switch. And 0 is neither positive or negative. So switching the sign on 0 doesn't do anything. That's it. Stay 0. 2 and 5 switch. And the 2 has to become negative. So let's graph those points, see what this thing looks like. Let's take a look. I'm going to make this a little bigger here so I can see it a little better. And let's see. So I got 0, 0 still. I got 2, 5. That's right here. I got 0, 6. That's right there. And I got negative 2, 5, which is right here. So there's my new figure. Well, you can see by connecting the dots, that is a 90-degree rotation counterclockwise around the origin. So that's what's happening there, but it's harder to see up front is that these slopes, what are the slopes there? So it's really, if you really look at the slopes right here, if I look at D, and I put a line on D, and then I go over here to my, let's see, this was D prime, C prime, B prime, and I put a line over here on the other slope from the new line, you can really see that these are perpendicular, and the slopes are always perpendicular. You can see that on all of them. I can put that on just about anything here. So I take that line out there. I can check this line down here from A to B. I can put a line on that, and then the new A to B, that point, that's that lower line is now here. I can kind of see that they are perpendicular. I can really see that. So I can compare the slopes. So a rotation, 90 degrees, creates a perpendicular line. That's the big idea from that lesson, from the first part of that. It creates a 90-degree rotation, creates what we know as perpendicular lines. All right, a little pause in the action for a moment. Okay, while you were paused, I was checking the slopes on these. This is the original figure. So what I've got is these original slopes. And what you want to do is you want to take a look at those original slopes, and then you want to take a look at your new slopes. So what I want you to do is pause the video again and go to the table on the next page, put in these original slopes right here, and then check the new slope of the rotated figure and compare those numbers, and that's what we're going to do next. So pause the video, do that, then go to the next page. All right, so when we do that, basically that was just doing the rotation like we did earlier and just checking the slope of each of those line segments. So that's what I want you to do on your own, but you'll notice that when you take a product here, you multiply these slopes. One is the original, and that's kind of like earlier we said that was kind of like A over B, and you multiply it by negative b over a, you'll notice that something happens here. In other words, these slopes right here from old to new are opposite reciprocals. They have the opposite sign, and they are reciprocals. In other words, they really are truly this minus b over a situation. But when you multiply them together, look what you get. Even with minus b over a, you're going to get negative 1. Because you're going to get a over a, you get b over b, it's just going to be negative 1. That's the same thing that happens here, is that you're just getting all these, every single one of them, the slopes multiply out to negative 1. So the product of the slopes is negative 1. Those are opposite reciprocals. Therefore, those lines are perpendicular. That is the whole idea. So we've looked at a rotation, previous skill. We looked at the slope of a line, previous lesson in this unit. And now we're looking at perpendicular being the opposite reciprocal. And that is the summary right there. You can really see it right here if you look carefully at this slope. This has a slope right here. Change in y of 2. Change in x from 0 to 5 is 5. So that has a slope of 2/5. And then over here you see that the slope is, the change in y, it goes down 5 and still positive 2. So that's a slope of negative 5/2. That's opposite reciprocal perpendicular lines, and that's the way it is. That's the way it goes. That's all there is to it. Are there some homework problems go with this? Yes, let's just take a quick look. You may have to do a little bit of converting, but let's see. Match each equation with a perpendicular line. If they don't give you the slope, you gotta calculate it. So right here I've got a slope of 5, so I'm looking for negative 1/5. In other words, I kind of know that. And this one, this didn't come out very clear on this, but for B, it looks like I've got a slope of 2, so I'm looking for a slope of negative 1/2. And this one on C, if you were, I'm doing this video after lesson 14, and so you're seeing this now after you've seen lesson 14. Quick slope, change in y from 5 to 9 plus 4. From 1 to 1. Change in, that's just that's no slope change at all. Oh, wait, negative 1, sorry. Negative 1, I almost didn't see that little negative right there. From negative 1 to 1 is plus 2. So that slope right there is plus 2. So I'm looking for something, let's see. Does that make sense? Yeah, from negative 1 to 1 is 1, from 5 to 1, okay. So I'm looking for those slopes. So I'm coming across to the other side. I'm going to check the slope over here on 1. 12 to 9 is negative 3. That's my change in y. Change in x, 2 to 17 is 15. So that's going to be negative 1/5. And that's what I'm trying to match up with, that slope to this perpendicular slope I'm looking for. And over here I see the negative 1/2, and I can match that one up as well. That's what I'm looking for. So that's the idea, matching up those negative slopes. But you may have to calculate them, like right here on number 3. You might have to change this equation and go from 2x. You might have to subtract 2x from both sides. So you're going to get minus 4y equals minus 2x plus 10. And then you're going to have to divide by negative 4. Divide by negative 4. So you may have to do that to get the slope out of there. So that's just a little bit of the homework practice. let's see what else we got here. We're at 10 minutes, so we're just kind of nearing the end of this one. This is the rule right there. Takes a perpendicular line. So it takes that line to a perpendicular. So select all the rules that take a line to the perpendicular line. So basically, if y and x switch places, that's going to happen most of the time. So right here, we know that C is a good answer. On D, y and x switch places, x is negative, but it's got different numbers. So you want to check that. You know, here's what I want you to do on these. Go to Desmos and check those. Check the points. Get a few sets of points and see what happens if you try that. All right, so this kind of an interesting one. Up here, I've got 2y equals negative x. So I don't think that's going to work because you're introducing new variables, new coefficients in there. And then B doesn't work because the y, negative x, that is actually a reflection across the origin. That's the y equals x. It's a 180-degree reflection. So that's not going to be perpendicular. So we're looking for perpendicular lines. So we're looking at slopes on these, all right? And with that, I think we're going to call it here on the video. Going to say, signing off here, the usual. See y'all. Y'all. Yeah, why not? See y'all Quiz Monday. See you then. Thanks.